The Muslim call to prayer is a common sound in Abu Dhabi city. Abu Dhabi is one of the United Arab Emirates, and with income from its natural resources, it's busy building a modern city. But building new buildings means getting rid of old ones, so let's see how that's done in Abu Dhabi. The buildings being replaced are probably around 40 years old, they're reinforced concrete, and the work starts by a soft strip of all the fixtures and fittings. But it's all fairly low tech with not much in the way of protective scaffolds. The companies doing the work are probably quite small, and they've even invented a new name for the process: demolition. The typical method of demolition usually used in city centres in Europe is high-reach demolition equipment. It's a hydraulic machine and it usually gives a more controlled demolition method, particularly at height. In the past, demolition was often carried out by an old-fashioned drop ball hanging from a crawler crane. This method is rarely seen now, but certainly in the UK at least, the ball was also controlled by a tagline running to the crane body. So let's now take a look and see how demolition is being done in a few sites in Abu Dhabi, and they're all using crawler cranes with a good old-fashioned drop ball. The cranes are generally old and some of them are really beat up. Here's an old American crane and it's missing most of its back and sides. Well, it's air conditioning, I suppose. The drop balls are heavy iron and shaped to cause maximum damage. So now let's take a look and see the machine in action. These old residential buildings are reinforced concrete, but they don't look too tough. The floors are mainly thin slabs with hollow pots, so it all seems to come down easily enough. Demolition is a dusty business, but some attempt is made to control the dust, and the way they do it is just to run a water hose up the boom and then just dribble it down onto the area of demolition. So an effort is made, but maybe it's not highly effective. Another thing to note is that this repeated loading and unloading is stressful on the crane, so these are really tough old machines that are being used. The method being used here is just to repeatedly drop the heavy ball onto the structure, so there's no wild swinging, which is probably just as well because there's very little protection to the public. So it's a cheap and cheerful method, but you have to say it's effective on an old structure like this. Let's move on to another site, and here it's a similar type of building with two cranes. And the one on the left has the special air-conditioned body we saw earlier, and it doesn't seem to be being used much. Let's have a look at the muckaway operation, and that seems to be the same the world over. And here an excavator, probably in the 20-ton class, is loading up an articulated tipper. Again, it's all cheap and cheerful with only a rudimentary sorting of reinforcement from the concrete. Once the truck is loaded, it's patted down and then it's sheeted to control the dust. Let's go back to where the drop ball's working, and it's a slow and steady method of demolition. You can see the progress by comparing the building now with how it appeared 1 week later. So that's demolition Abu Dhabi style, good old fashioned ball breaking.